Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of One Man Stream. In our previous episode, I showed you how this advertisement I saw right here kind of sparked some interest in me creating a studio production console. And in that previous tutorial, I kind of walked you through the console and its components. I showed you how it was created in GT Title Designer and what elements of GT Title Designer I used to create it. And then I showed you the layout of it, and I told you that in part 2, I would show you how each one of the individual components work. I've actually added a little bit to it, and I think you'll like the additions that I have made to it. In the last tutorial, I told you if you wanted to, you could go to our website, which is onemanstream.com, and download the template. But what I've done is I've taken it one step further. If you would like to have the bundle ready to use, I'm going to make that available as well on the website. And if you look in the description that accompanies this tutorial, you will find a link there that will take you directly to it. So without any further ado, what we're going to do first is we're going to start with this right here, which is the main input. And on top of this main input are several layers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to that input, and you can see that I brought it up in the preview window, and I described in the last tutorial that this should actually be the program output, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I've made it the program preview, just so that you can see what's going on behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this look right here, and I'm going to go to input number 3, and input number 3 is the layout that we made in GT Title Designer. I'm going to go to the cog here associated with input 3. And when I do, it brings up this dialog box right here. What I'm going to go to is the layers. And now you can see in the layers, we have several things going on here. We have this right here, which is the desktop capture. And this is actually what is bringing in output 2. And output 2, as you can see right here, is preview. Well, if I was using this like I'll be using it during a live production, I would have it on output 1, which is the output. Right now I have it on output 2, and it's showing me my preview. So let me go back to this. This will show my point a little bit more. You can see right here where it says output 2, and I just showed you where output 2 is the preview, and that's what's coming through in this window right here is the preview. So all I did is I brought this in, then I clicked on the edit button, and then I just had to manipulate it, getting it down to the right size to fit in this part of the template. And so that's what I did, and that's how we created this first element in our layout right here. Let's go to this again and go back to layers, and you can see the next two things are the clocks. Well, as I told you in the previous tutorial, and if you didn't watch the previous tutorial, I would suggest that you go back and watch it, and it's going to give you some background for today's tutorial. So if you're watching this tutorial, go ahead and stop it, go to the previous one, and I have that linked in the show notes as well. Watch the previous one because it's going to give you a lot of information. If you're going to pick it up from right here, it may be a little confusing for you, so I would suggest you watch the previous tutorial. So I brought in the same input twice, which is this number 7 input, and let's go to that. The number 7 input is this right here, and I'm going to bring this in twice. The top portion of this input is going to be the stream time, and the bottom portion of this input is our record time. And you can see we are recording, which is indicated right here, and you can see we've been recording for just about 6 minutes. So how we created this is I double clicked right here, and it brought in this dialog box, and then I clicked create input. Now you can see we have a number 1 and a number 2 on this input. Number 1 is the streaming, and number 2 is the recording. So I created the input, and that's what gave us this right here, the streaming and the recording. And then I had to go in and click the edit button. Well, actually I had to change the color on both of them. The default color is white, and I changed the default the color to red. So when these are activated now, the color of the output is going to be red, and you can see that right now in the one that's recording. Now when we activate this one right here, you'll see this will change to red as well. So like I said, I had to bring it in twice. So I did the same thing on layer 3. Again, I had to go to the edit, and then I had to manipulate it in order to get it to fit in this area right here. So this is our recording. The previous one was our streaming. Let's go back to our layers again. And you can see we have this one right here that says timer the middle. And what this one is this input right here. This is actually a countdown timer. And this is the one that says, when we go back to this look right here, it's going to say countdown to show. So what I did here, and I'll show you it, I'm going to click on the cog. And what I did is I created an input, and the input that I used is one that's called timer in the middle, or timer the middle. And then let's right click on it. And you can see right here where it says timer. Well, I set it up like this to give me the information that I want. I set it up as hours, hours, minutes, minutes, seconds, seconds. And that's how you can see the readout of 04 right here for hour, hour, 57 for minute, minute, and then 52 for second, second. And what I did is I actually set it to a time, and that's 8 o'clock. Well, you'll watch here, I'm going to change this from 8 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and when I do, it's going to decrease it by an hour. It was at 4:37, I'm sorry, 4:57, and now you can see it's at 3:57. So if I take this back to 8, you can see where it takes us back to 4:57. So that's all I did, is I created this countdown timer, and then I did the same thing. Let's go back to our main input, which is our graphic that we created in GT Title Designer. Let's go to layers, and you can see that's this one right here, which is our countdown timer. And if I hit edit, you can see where I had to manipulate it. Again, I had to make it a little bit smaller. I had to move it from the center over here a little bit more to the right to get it to where I needed it. When I had it where I wanted it, I just click the X button, and that puts it right here. So let's go back to this number 3 input again. Our next one says middle center. So let's go to the one that says middle center. That's this one right here. This is the one that's going to tell us whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, etc. It's going to tell us the month, it's going to tell us the day, and it's going to tell us the year. And in the first tutorial, I said something about I was trying to figure out how this would work with the API, and I hadn't figured it out. Well, that's why I love the one-man stream community, because I had someone make a comment on that tutorial, and it was this gentleman right here, Ryan Clark. And he said, quick tip, and you may already know this, and maybe you forgot. Well, no, I didn't really know it, and I didn't really forget it. I really hadn't tried to do this before, so I just hadn't discovered it. And I'm glad you pointed this out to me, because it'll make it so much more straightforward than trying to pull it in with some API. So I'm going to right click and bring up the title editor, and I clicked on clocks, and it brings in some information. But then if you click more options, you can see where it takes you to this page right here, and it gives you some more options. So this is where I actually figured out that I could put it in here as this format right here. And this is what I used. I used 4 small D's for the day of the week, and then I used 4 M's for the month, and then I used 1 D for the date, and then I use 4 Y's for the year. And that is the format that you're going to see right here. So using this format right here is what brings us in this format that is displaying right here. And this is what I brought in. I know this is getting a little confusing, but I'm trying to do it step by step for you. And that's what brought in. Remember, this is the one that says middle center. So we're going to go back to our main graphic. Click on layers again, middle center, click edit, and these are the manipulations that I had to do in order for it to be displayed right here. And now we're going to go to just the regular clock. I did this clock right here just a little bit different. I'm going to right click on this and bring up the title editor, and you can see that one of the things that I had here is time. So what I did with that is I went here under clock. If you click on it, you have all these different formats that you can use. And this is the one that I settled on. The one that says has a small h for hour, and then it has 2 small m's for minutes, and then 2 small s's for seconds. And this is the format that I ended up using. By doing this, we're actually mapping it to this time portion, which we created in GT Title Designer. And let me show you that real quick. You can see right here, this is what we're dealing with. When I highlight it right here, you can see the time, and this is one of the things that we created in GT Title Designer. So in the previous step that I showed you, all I did is I showed you how to map what I had in GT Title Designer to the clock that will be outputted through vMix. So let's go back to our main graphic one more time. I'm going to click on the cog one more time, and the only other thing, well, there's 2 other things. The scrolling text, and like I told you before, this right here is scrolling text, and I just kind of put this in as a placeholder. You can actually make it whatever you want. You can make it be weather, you can make it be some other type of RSS feed. I also said that you could probably make it, or you could turn it into prompts for yourself to let you know what time the breaks are that you need to hit, or just, whatever. You can customize this to fit whatever workflow you have. Now, the very last thing you'll see right here is where it says red outline for studio clock. And that's one of the new things that I did. And that is what this is right here. And all I did was go to GT Title Designer. I made a very large image, and then I made the middle of that image transparent. I made a wide border, and I made that wide border red, and you'll see just in a minute why I did this. And then I brought this in as its own separate input, and I put it on layer 10. So that's all the layers that we brought in on this input right here. The next thing that I want to show you is the data sources. And if we go down here to the hamburger menu, you can see it's highlighted in red, and that tells us that we have a data source, or in this case, data sources active. So let's click on the data source manager, and you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data sources. This one right here is our sports news. So let's go and take a look at the settings for this. We brought this in as an RSS feed, and I will supply these RSS feeds in the links if you want to use the exact same links that I did. Now, I don't imagine you want to use the same one I used for local news, but I'll put that in there as well. And this I actually just got from the Fox Sports page. They have a whole list of different APIs that you can use, and all I did was I copy and pasted it right here. And after you do that, it starts bringing in this information. So when we go back to right here, you can see that this says sports news data. So I just put in here as a placeholder text, but what I'm going to do is I am going to map this text right here. And one thing I may not have told you, but you'll look over here and you can see where I have it in the middle, left to right, and in the middle, up and down. And then I always use this shrink box here because I want to make sure that the text that comes in is going to stay in that area that I've created. If I don't use this shrink, it's going to start spreading out past that box, and that's not what I want. I want it to stay inside this text box that I created. I'm going to right click here, click on the title editor, and then I'm going to go to where it says Sports News Data. I'm going to click on this, and you can see where that data is coming in. Well, what I did is I went to the data source. I selected that Sports News RSS feed, and then the table automatically comes in, and there are several things within that RSS feed, but the one that I want to have toggled through is the description. So I selected description, and you can see that every so often we have something new that pops in, and I think I have it set up about every 10 seconds. You set that up right here at the very bottom here, and yes, it is every 10 seconds. At the very bottom here, you have to make sure that you have this auto next. It won't be activated when you first create this data source. You have to make sure you have it active, so you do have to click on it to make it turn green. And then I want to have it loop, and you got to click on that as well. And then I want to do auto next every 10 seconds. I want it to go to one of these new topics every 10 seconds. So that's how we did the sports news. The next one is, I'm just going to show you local news. And the same thing, I have it set up as auto next. I have it set up for loop. And then we're going to go to settings. And what we did is we just used this RSS feed from our local radio station. Well, actually, it's a radio station and a news station, WHAS 11. And that's what's giving us our local news. We did the same thing. We're going to go up here. We're going to right click on the title editor. And then we're going to go to where it says local news data. I believe it says something like that. There we go, right here. And it says news text data. And I would imagine that's exactly what it says here. And I know it's exactly what it says here because I imported it from here. In GT Title Designer, it says news text data. And so what I did is I clicked on the data source. I brought in local news. Again, we have several different options. I have this set for description as well. Because we have it set up that way in the data source, we're going to get a new topic about every 10 seconds. So that's how we did these two elements right here. The scrolling text is actually a input that comes in vMix. I just went to well, let's just do this. I'm going to click add input. We're going to go to title. I'm going to do GT text. And you can see these are the texts that I used earlier. This middle center, we used that one, and then we used another one, I think that just said center. This one, blah, 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 I don't know where it's at, but we did use another one that just said center, and that's how we created those inputs. This one that I'm going to show you now is going to be a ticker, and let's see which one we used. Okay, it's just the one that says scrolling. So let's go back to the titles again. Title, we're going to click on GT ticker, and it's this one right here that says scrolling. So all we did is we click on this, click OK, and it brings this in right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because we don't need it. We already have it. So what I did is I click on this and bring it into the preview window, and then we're going to right click on it, click on the title editor. These are the ticker settings. So let's click on that. What we had to do is we have to show the direction, and I wanted it to go from bottom to top, so we actually have it scrolling toward the top. And then the type, you can either have it replace or add, and I want it to replace. I don't want it to keep, each time this goes through, I don't want it to keep adding more information, so I put it on replace. And the speed that we have it on is 0.5. You have several options here. This is actually a very slow scroll, but that's what I wanted for this particular situation. Let's go back to the data sources. Now we're getting to the ones that we brought in through the vMix API. So let's go to master audio and let's look at our settings. And we're going to use this exact same URL for every one of the elements that we're bringing in through the vMix API. So you want to put it in just like you see it right here, localhost : 80.88 and then API. So make sure you put it in just like that. And then the XPath is going to be vMix, audio, and then master. And it's going to bring you in these elements right here. It's going to bring you in the volume. It's going to tell you whether you have it on or not. It's going to show you the meters here. And as I demonstrated in the last tutorial, if I talk softly, you'll see where it goes down. And if I talk loudly, you'll see where those numbers jump up. And then we also can display the headphone volume as well. The next one is streaming. And then with this, I just wanted to say whether it's going to be true or false. So we bring it in with the API the exact same way. The XPath is a little bit different. It's /vmix and then /streaming. For record, all I really needed to tell us is whether record was on or not, and that's going to be displayed with a true or false. Let's go to the settings. You can see again we have the API, and then you can see we have /vmix and then /recording on our XPath, and that's going to bring us this information right here. Let's bring in our main graphic, and you can see we're on record. You can see we are recording, and you can see where record says true, and that's why when we brought this up, you can see where it says true. Now streaming, this one right here, it says false because we are not streaming, and then replay, you can see that this one says false because we do not have the replay activated. But it's the same thing for replay. What we did is we just did //replay. We skipped some of the earlier part of the API that we're not going to be utilizing. So we just go //replay. And then we use this same URL right here. And then what we're going to be looking at is recording true or false. We are not recording replay right now, so that's going to tell us false. So these are the data sources that we brought in. For stream, record, and replay, and then I'm also going to show you for these audio ones here, you have to go to the title editor, right click. So the first one that we're going to do is, this is headphone volume, and here's all of our data sources. We selected master audio. It's an XML table. From here we had a few things. So we selected headphone volume, and you can see where it pops in what our current headphone volume is, and it's set for 100%. So we can say OK. The next one is meter right and meter left. We brought that in as well off master audio, and it's called meter 1 and meter 2. And you can see all the pieces of information that we brought in from this particular data source. So we're using meter 2 for right, and then for left, we're using meter 1. This is where it's telling us whether it's muted or not. Again, we brought it in on the XML from the master audio. From the drop-down menu, we selected muted. And you can see right here where it says false. The audio is not muted. If it was muted, you would not see the screen clicking up and down here, and you also wouldn't be able to hear my audio. The next one is volume. We have the volume set at 100% for the master audio. We're going to click on data. Again, master audio. It's an XML table because we have XML and RSS feeds. We have this set to volume. And then you can see where the volume comes in at 100. So that gives us all this information down here. Now, the last information that I need to give you is going to be stream, record, and replay. So let's look for stream state data. Right now it says false, and that's because we are not streaming. So we're going to go to here where it says the data source that we brought in, it says streaming. That's all we brought in for this data source was the state of the stream. And you can see right here where it says false. And that is displayed right here. The next one is record data. You can see where that says true, and we are recording. And then the last one is replay state, and you can see where that says false. We brought this in under the data source replay. We had different things we could choose from, but we chose the one that said live to tell us whether we're live or not. And this one says false because we do not have the instant replay on. So the last couple things I wanted to show you were some new things that I did with this layout. One thing that I did with this layout is I created some shortcuts. So let's go, we're just going up to the very top here under settings. We're going to click the drop down arrow and we're going to go to shortcuts. I created a few shortcuts. Under this letter S, and I used S for streaming, we're going to turn on that border that we made earlier, that red border that I showed you. We're going to have a red border that's going to come all around here, and then we're going to set some text visible, and you see me do this a lot with vMix UTC. The first time I've done a tutorial showing you how to set text visible within vMix. And then the last part is going to be start and stop stream. We've got 3 shortcuts all on the same S button. So let me show you how we did it. This first one is layer on off. Let's go to edit. What we did is we clicked find, and then after you click that, the next button you click, it's going to populate it right here. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it from the drop down list, but I find it easier to do it that way. So the function that we're going to use on this first S key is going to be layer on and off. And you saw earlier when we went to all the layers, this was set to a value of 10. Well, why is this set to a value of 10? I'm going to click here to get rid of this for just a moment. We're going to go to our main input that we created in GT Title Designer. We are going to click the cog button, and then we're going to click layers. And this is what we're turning off and on. This is layer 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to toggle layer 10 off and on. And we've set it up using that shortcut command because that shortcut command allows us to do this as a toggle. So we're going to be toggling all three of those commands off and on. So let's go back to our shortcuts again and click on this and then click Edit. And this is layer off and on. So we click it once, it's going to turn it on. We click it again, it's going to turn it off. And the value that it's turning off is this 10. And this 10 is layer 10 on this input here that we created in GT Title Designer. So I think you can see what I'm getting at right here. This last thing is a piece of text that we're going to turn off and on. We're going to edit this. When we click the S button, it's set text visible. And when we use this function right here, it's going to allow us to use it as a toggle. Again, we're using that same input. We're going to be turning this live text off and on. Well, what is this live text? Well, let me show you. This live text is right here. And if we click on this eyeball, you can see where it comes off and on. Let's click OK. Click OK again. And let's go ahead and click the S button on our keyboard and let's see what happens. Let's go to this look right here. I'm going to click it again. Okay, so let's click that S button one more time. When I do, you can see we have a red border that comes around. This is going to make it a little bit easier for us to tell when we are streaming. And then it brought in this live text. You can see the live text right here. You can also see that it's getting that information from the API and our stream is now true. And you can also see right here where our stream time is starting to clip away. So let's click the S button again. You can see where our stream went to false, our live went away, our border went away, and our stream time went back to 0. So let's go ahead and click the S button once again. And you can see where all those elements come on. Our stream time starts showing up again, our live button comes on, and our red border comes up as well. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Back once again to our shortcuts. We've got two more shortcuts. We've got this one right here with the letter R. That's for start and stop recording. Let's click Edit. And this is very simple. We click the Find button. When we did, the next key we pushed was the R, and it populated the R for us right here. And the function that we used was start, stop recording. So now, when we click on the R button, now I will tell you, I'm not going to click this button here to show you that it's working. Obviously it is working because I used it to start this tutorial, and you can see right here where the record is on, and you can see that we've been recording for 41 minutes. If I click this button right now, it's going to stop the recording, and I don't want to do that. The last button, or the last shortcut that we created, is this one right here, and it's I. I used I for instant replay, and this is what's going to turn our replay off and on. So let's click Edit. Again, when we use this type of command, replay, start, stop recording, you can see where we have two options here, start and stop. We click it once, we're going to start. We click it again, it's going to stop. And again, what I did is I clicked on the Find button, then I clicked the letter I, and when I clicked the letter I, it brought it in right here. So let's click out of this. I'm going to click the letter I now. You can see where our replay came on. Let me click it again to stop it. So I'll click it one more time. I'm pushing on the letter I. You can see it shows that the replay is live right here. And you can see it shows us how much time we have remaining on our hard drive to record replay. And I'm going to go to this look right here because you can also see up here at the top where it says replay, it says true, so that you know we are our replay is now on and we're recording our instant replays. Okay, that will conclude our tutorial today. I hope you found this topic fun and informative and maybe a little bit interesting. I had fun putting it together, and I do appreciate questions and comments, and I would like to thank Ryan Clark for putting in this comment and kind of reminded me that this was available in vMix, and I was able to incorporate that into today's tutorial. So thank you, Ryan. If you like what we're doing here at One Man Stream, please give us a thumbs up and a like. Make sure that you do subscribe so that you'll be alerted as soon as new videos are posted. And also, if you get a chance, please stop by our website. That's onemanstream.com. That's where we have the graphics that we've created throughout this tutorial series, as well as many of the vMix UTC controllers. They're just a few dollars a piece, but it is a way that you can help support One Man Stream, and I really do appreciate it. And as always, Thank you so much.